doesn't think you're going to find it, and you are the last one in the universe who thinks you're going to find the Al-Qaeda connection.
And you think Mr. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is a fiction of my imagination?
He was in Kurdistan, in Kurdish-held territory, although it's to be sure not a group that the Kurds themselves control.
Certainly
he was not in a territory that Saddam controlled.
The Kurds warned the State Department of his crossing.
Cole pointed it out to you that he was not in territory that Saddam controlled.
No,
and in spite of the fact that you told this, you repeat the same thing to an audience.
He was in territory that Saddam Hussein wanted to control, and his Ansar al-Islam group was trying to kill the Kurdish leadership. A strange thing for a jihadist group to want to do. First thing is to try and kill the main opposition to Saddam Hussein. I don't suppose there could be anything suspicious about that.
Listen.
But at a time when every country in the world was expelling jihad sympathizers who were on the run from Afghanistan, Iraq was welcoming them.
If this were so, the American government would be trumpeting this everywhere, on the street, on every...
Between the Iraqi Ba'ath Party and the Al-Qaeda.
You're literally the last person who believes in these things.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
But
I wouldn't mind being the only one to say so. I wouldn't be afraid. But does it happen?
Who the hell are you supposed to be afraid of? The CIA?
I'm willing
all right.
I'm willing to materialize. I'm willing to materialize everything I say.
Next question.
It might take a little patience.
I mean, that's really sad.
Andrew. Oh, thank you. I can take care of myself. Andrew, I want to ask you more about the Iraqi Constitution. When I looked it up, I found a quote from the Constitution. I think it's from the most current version, which says, "The Constitution is the highest law of the land. No law may be passed that contradicts the Constitution, the undisputed laws of Islam, or the principles of democracy." Is this tenable? Leaving aside the naughty question of which laws of Islam are not disputed and which ones are, won't there be a moment when there's a conflict between the law of Islam and the law of the Constitution, and who's going to win?
Well, I was sort of taken aback by the previous discussion, and now you're putting me on this other track.
I know.
Deal with it.
Because it sort of frightens me that there is still someone who goes around says these things when in the eyes of the main propagators of these connections, they have become totally untenable. But okay, let's let it go. It's just I sort of have to kind of come to myself, my sweet friendly, come back to my sweet friendly self. And
that may take longer.
That may take longer. The problem is not these symbolic declarations. In fact, there could be laws that would contradict one and contradict the other, and so neither would be passed. But this is not where the issue really lies. And in case people are really interested in issues like the fate of women, or the fate of gays, or the fate of Christians in the Iraq to come, there are some very important clues in the new constitution to what that is going to be like. Not in Kurdistan, admittedly. It has to do with the status law, which basically allows each, if the plans of the religious sectarians are realized, would allow each community to basically administer everything that connected to family life, marriage, divorce, inheritance, to some extent even the status of women men in courts and in litigation, according to the religious law of that particular community. Now, this law is going to be passed, according to the Constitution, by simple majority of Parliament. But there is the provision that you mentioned. That is, the law which will be passed has to be compatible both with Islam and with the principles of democracy. And the Constitution also foresees the creation of a constitutional court. This constitutional court is going to have both secular and Sharia judges, but it's not said how many. Everything depends on how many. You know, it's like the Sharia judges are like, well, in our context, let us say they will resemble, I don't know whom, maybe, I don't know, I guess I should make analogies like that. The Sharia judges will represent the extreme version of the status law, and secular judges may represent a better and more liberal perspective. But the number is what matters, really, how many of each. And this can be achieved only through 2/3 of the vote of Parliament. It seems to me that according to the current numbers of the last election, there will not be 2/3 of Parliament, either for a secular-dominated court or for a religiously dominated court. They're just not going to be able to create a court because of this issue, which means what? It means that they're not going to have a court, which means that the status law will be decided by simple majority, and that means that the secular elements of Parliament are not going to be able to outvote the religious majority, which is going to be not just Shiite, but also Sunni. So in actual fact, the contradiction between, let's say, not democracy, because in this case it's liberal values, we're talking about liberal values and religious values, will be resolved consistently in the favor of in the religious direction. The reason I say it, that this matter will not touch Kurdistan, because the way that the Constitution has been structured is that the Kurd region already has nullification rights. This is in general not a good thing. In the United States, John C. Calhoun pushed this, and we know what the consequences would have been, except that in the United States it never really was established, even in the heydays of the slave system. I don't think nullification is a principle that would allow Iraq really to stay together in general, but on this particular issue, the nullification rights of the Kurds would allow the Kurds to keep themselves away from the domination of a legal structure in which religious courts take over jurisdiction over family matters. So I think, with the exception of Kurdistan, women's rights are in big trouble in the new Iraq. I don't say this for demagogic reasons. You notice I didn't, in my speech, put this first and foremost. I think in the United States right now, I would not take Roe versus Wade as the issue that I would concentrate on in relationship to the transformation of the Supreme Court, which you also wanted to talk about. I think that the powers, the prerogative powers of the executive are much more serious and much more important and represent much greater dangers for us. In Iraq, I think the issue that is really salient today is the issue of federalism. What kind of federalism Iraq is going to have, and Iraq will break apart over that issue. Well, we talk about it if you want to. But the second major issue